we're here to discuss Stranger Things. The new season just finished. It's safe to say this is one of my favorite shows of all time. The best show, the best thing Netflix has put out there, in my opinion. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. I actually don't really care for Netflix at all, but Stranger Things is the only reason why I still have it installed.
Yeah. So I'd probably give this season like 9.5 out of 10. I think it was almost flawless. I loved the soundtrack. The music was amazing. The way they finished the story, it's flawless. Can you get anything to say?
Yeah, I think you're wrong. I think it's a 10 out of 10.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it was actually flawless. I think they really did. They upped the ante every season.
Yeah, I think so.
And this season was the best. Especially the length of the episodes, which was the fact that
it's
like
awesome.
Yes.
an hour and a half, and you're like,
Movie.
10 minutes? It feels like, it is so well written where you think it's like only been 30 minutes.
Yeah,
Which
it's like
is how you know it's good.
it's like a hypnotizing. Like they make you just forget the fact that there's a length on episodes.
Yeah.
It's like I've always hated the episode lengths that are usually stuck between 40 minutes to like just barely an hour. And here they didn't care. Like you got 45-minute episodes, you got like an hour and 25-minute episodes, and of course the season finale was like a 2-hour and 20-minute episode. Like I love that.
I like
Just give
the
us
fact
random
that-
lengths.
Usually Netflix puts out every episode. I love the fact that they kind of teased us with a good 7.
Yeah.
You kept talking about it, and then they just dropped 2 more, and it's still going. I think it's one of the smartest things Netflix have ever done. So, what was your favorite part of this?
I was just
season?
gonna ask before, did you guys binge it?
I binged it. I
You
did.
binge watched?
Yeah.
I think I took time with it because I wanted to really appreciate it for what it was. And I'm like, I gotta really just take it episode by episode because I'm like, it's gonna be crazy, and I already knew, but I was like, I gotta take my time with it.
I binged it, but I watched it again, and then I
Yeah.
took my time.
Yeah.
I binged the crap out of it. I actually forgot what time it was. I made it to like episode 8 or something like that, and I looked outside and started getting like there was daylight, and I was like, oh man,
Yeah.
I gotta go to sleep. And I slept for like 4 hours, and I was like, all right, back to back to the episode.
Yeah, that show is so good.
Yeah.
So what was your favorite part of this season?
Favorite part? Geez, I had a lot of favorite parts. I liked Hop's like attack on the what's it called, the Demogorgons.
Yeah.
Towards the in the last episode, he picks up that sword and he's like his arm off. I think it was really just that whole final sequence was just so beautifully put together. You had the music in the background.
Cuts that they were doing.
Yeah, and it's just cool because like this entire like season felt like Pirates of the Caribbean 2, where it's like you had individual stories of, from the characters, and then they all converge. But in here, they kind of converge in either upside down in the mind and in Russia. So it's like they're all doing the same thing, but just in different parts of the world. And I think that was cool. That's probably one of the coolest things about it.
For sure.
Episode 4, just the entirety of episode 4, like Max's like story of like being attacked and stuff, and I think it really solidifies her as a character because though she was friends with everybody, she was still on like kind of the outside, had to experience the trauma because of her brother, but like wasn't really in it. And like now you can see like how much the team of friends love her. And then that episode was just beautifully written. The running scene that we literally just saw a few minutes ago, to just refresh our minds. But it was like that, and then the ending too with her and Lucas. I'm like, dang it, you guys. And Eddie, that last part with his guitar solo.
Yeah. And it's crazy that a song that came out in the 80s is trending now because of a show. Like,
Yeah.
Just that in general just shows the popularity of this show. I think my favorite part of this season was the running up the hill sequence. But just the music itself, like it draws me into the show more. Even when they played that Journey song when they were on the bus and it was like 2 worlds apart and it just like fit so perfectly. The song that he was playing on the guitar, Metallica.
Master Puppets.
That was dope. That whole sequence that he's like, we got 30 seconds. He's like, oh, guitar solo time. Just the
So
music
great.
is great. I love all that stuff. Quick predictions. What do you think how do you think the show's gonna end? What's up?
That's a tough one. So I do think that obviously I feel like it goes without saying that we're gonna get more deaths and from the group. I think that Will is probably gonna have to go. If it's not Will, then L. one of those two. I feel like Will might be the one because of the fact that he's still connected with Vecna, and I hope it's not like this, but if it's a hive mind and Will is connected to Vecna still somehow, because he's able to feel his thoughts, then that means that if Vecna falls, then something might happen to Will because it's become a part of him too. So that's sad if it happens.
Yeah,
but
this season we found out, or they spoke more of them all being connected with in Russia stopping the Demogorgons to Vecna. Yeah, I can see that definitely.
I feel like that would be pretty sad. But I do think that Ella has to fly by this season.
Yeah.
Somehow,
literally fly?
like literally fly. Because like she was hovering in one of the other season finales. I forgot which one. I think it was the third one. When she lost her powers, she was putting all her force into it, and she started like floating. So I was like, oh, so that means that she probably can fly. She just hasn't unlocked the ability.
Yeah, and at some point, Mike told her, you could do anything, you could fly.
But they said that so many
mountains."
times.
Yeah,
In that entire.
they kind of focus on saying that.
He's like, oh, you must learn to walk, and then but you have to do more than running to fight Vecna. You have to be able to fly.
Yeah.
To fight him, something like that.
Yeah.
Great.
So you think they're just teaching her flight?
Mm-hmm.
I think she's gonna die though.
Probably.
Because if she was the first one to open the gate, then she has to be the last one to close the gate. Like, to really sever all connection, I think she's gonna die. Which is gonna suck for Mike, right? Because now that he told her he loves her, he can't live without her. And I think it's gonna put a lot of pressure on him, or a bigger loss on him. But I think she's gonna.
Yeah, they kind of teased it.
Yeah.
Like that.
So, I guess a prediction for me, I believe that I do think Elle's gonna die, or she's gonna close the Upside Down herself. Maybe she has to stay in the Upside Down. I'm not sure where they're going, whether she's gonna be able to control the Upside Down or the Demogorgons or the Mind Flayer the same way that Vecna does, because technically they have the same power, and Vecna's just the first one to be controlling all these things. Maybe she realizes she can also do so.
Time for a message from our sponsor.
Do you have anal leakage?
Do you or a loved one suffer from anal leakage? These guys do.
I'll tell you.
We're back. Yeah, I think she's gonna be able to realize she has more potential with her powers and possibly be able to control the Demogorgons or the Mind Flayer. And I just want to see an all-out battle, like them going back and forth. I thought it was dope when they actually were face to face and going against each other. I thought that was done beautifully. And then also she fought the kids and they were shooting him with the shotgun and throwing the fire at him. I want to see more stuff like that. I want this next season to just be.
You ever seen
Oh.
Akira?
No.
You ever seen Akira? Have you
Yeah,
seen it?
anime?
Yeah, the
No.
anime movie. It kind of has similarities with Stranger Things because it has like telekinetic kids and stuff like that. But one of the characters, basically the antagonist of the movie, he starts like flying and all that stuff, and he's able to basically be a superhero like Superman and stuff like that with his psychic abilities. He's able to levitate and stuff. So, do you think that they're gonna kind of like copy that and make it like she's doing a superhero fight against Vecna and the Upside
Yeah,
Down?
I want to see something like that.
Like they're straight up flying and like doing
If she's able to
pushes and
fly,
stuff.
why not?
Yeah, that'd be pretty cool.
Well, there's definitely going to be a time skip for the next season. Due to the fact that, one, the kids are getting older and they're looking older now. And so I think they have to accommodate for that. And if there's going to be an all-out battle, then Vecna has to be
He's
at a
hero.
fully healed
Yeah.
state in order for that to happen. And clearly it's not going to go from like one moment to the other. But it would definitely be crazy for sure.
It's kind of weird because they were saying he's very powerful, and I guess maybe they meant very powerful in the fact that he's able to do a lot of things at the same time. Because like Elle can really only focus in on one subject, whereas Vecna was over here.
Multitask, yeah.
He's over here like in mind, also taking care of business over here and the Upside Down and all that stuff. But if that was what they meant by him being more powerful, then I get it. But if they were saying that he's like straight up like a god compared to Elle, I didn't really feel that, to be honest with you, because he kind of just, unless he was just like not taking it very seriously,
Well, I
like
feel
maybe
like
he didn't want to
also-
hurt Elle.
I feel like also him being connected to the hive, they did that so that he did have more of a weakness, so that when the Demigorgons were being killed, he was just getting weaker. His body was out in the open, so the kids in the Upside Down were able to attack his body while Elle was attacking his mind, while they were attacking the Demigorgon.
Right.
So they just strategized better than
Didn't
not
disable.
not better than he did, but in general they just strategized well to where they caught him off guard in a way. More Hopper, because he wasn't paying attention to what was going on in Russia. 'Cause
Yeah.
He tracked the kids, he knew what they were doing. So really that caught him off guard, I feel like. That's probably why. But if it was just one-on-one with Elle face to face,
He probably
they would have been a battle like when they were in the lab. And Elle just went up to there because he wasn't really expecting Elle to all of a sudden just go like Super Saiyan 83, like send into a different dimension, you know?
Yeah, and it's cool seeing how much the Demogorgons in Russia really affected him, because even the Demi-Dogs, when they fell, he was already like beginning to lose his grip on everything that was happening. So yeah, it was pretty cool, because we still had the giant Demogorgon, which I'm pretty sure was the bulk of where his power was located in, but just those little Demi-Dogs already like impacted him in such a way that he's like, oh man, what's going on? Like he had to like, he basically, I wouldn't say panicked, but he was like, he had to think of a plan fast because he was going to lose control, which he did anyways.
Which is interesting because here's the thing. You know the Demi-Dogs, one of them was like Dustin's like pet.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a point where they like confronted each other, but he just walked away. So he has a memory of Dustin, right?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously when the Mind Flayer was down, they all died. But I'm like, okay, if they're connected to the Mind Flayer, like, does Dustin have a weird connection with? Like, will it kill him? Knowing that he was kind of nice to a Demi-Dog, you know what I mean? I know that's weird. but-
Maybe they're not so linked up like that.
Yeah.
Maybe the Demi-Gorgons and the monsters that come from there still have their own
But they are just linked in like a
Their own
nervous system.
identity,
identity.
you know,
Yeah.
person.
But then I guess it's weird because like if they're all linked together, then the Mind Flayer would have known about Dustin's location and all that stuff, and so would have Vecna. And here he kind of just didn't even know who Dustin was. I felt like. I mean, they never really met though. They didn't really interact, but
Right.
it was still like if he had already known about Dustin, then he would have known to take him out. You know what I mean? Like I feel like for everything that's happened in all of the previous seasons, Vecna still for some reason underestimated them all.
I just think a lot of bad guys are cocky. They feel like
Yeah.
they want up to everybody.
Maybe.
Because he was thinking,
He was on
at
a murder
this point
spree.
in time, he's like, I'm just attacking kids. Like, they're not gonna realize listening to Running Up That Hill is gonna stop me. Like, you know? And also, Eleven wasn't even with these kids. She wasn't anywhere to be found. She was in another town.
Yeah.
So he was not expecting her to be there. So I really do think the element of surprise, like, caught him good.
Yeah, but even still, he should have known that if they were smart enough to figure out that the music was able to bring him back, then at that point he should have already shifted his plan. Unless he thought he was already like too far like into his plan to really give a crap now. Maybe because like I mean, he still won at the end. He got what he wanted.
I also think he was going to try to end this faster. Then he realized Elle was there. He's like, well, I was gonna ask you to join me, but I'd rather you watch. Like,
Watch this.
he's a bad guy. He's really thinking, I want to torture you. Same thing with Max. He did that to her too. He even like postponed killing her just to feel empowered. Like he's sick. He's maniacal. He likes to know that you're going through pain, physically, emotionally,
Yeah.
mentally. But that's a lot of bad guys' downfalls in the first place.
Right, but do you think it's actually the music that helped them out, or the music was just a different form of like a distraction? So that, for example, right, when she's listening to the music, it's her favorite song, yeah, but what did it do? It brought back all her memories,
Right.
like her happy memories,
For sure.
and that's where
Their
she's like, oh, okay.
their abilities to keep basically like
The focus.
their focus
Right.
is sensory sensitive. So if, that's why Elle has to be in the bathtub, because it basically numbs her and gets her. It's all the outside influence away from her.
Because
But she
when you
ran
put-
away
But when you
in the
put
last episode without music.
right.
She hid in a
But
memory.
remember, and when she went back in, she was like, I know how to postpone this by having good, happy thoughts. She has to stay focused. So when she stopped and started having happy thoughts again, she went into the prom. Like she got out of that danger, and then she felt safe again until he started attacking again with her brother because he had attacked her harder. Like what's another memory?
On top of that, he knew what she was doing, so he probably let it happen.
Yeah, he had to weaken her mentally.
Yeah.
Like,
So that's really all it is, and that's what the music was for. It was a way you basically override your sensory abilities. Well, they called it something in the episode. I just forgot what they called it, but that was why she was in the bathtub. That's why she has to be very quiet and still, in order to do it, and that's why Vecna picks that spot in the Upside Down.
The music did to her what Mike did to Elle, when he was like, "Oh, I believe in you," blah blah blah.
Oh, okay.
It helps you focus on the, get away from the negative stuff and clear your mind to stay focused. I was happy when that John guy got cut in half.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god.
Me too.
The body count was awesome. It's funny how just everybody assumes when they say there's a high body count, it's the main cast.
Right.
But right away, once the helicopter exploded, there's 5 dead bodies.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did like the body count. I liked how it ended with the cliffhanger. The animation was ridiculous.
Yeah.
Even the town cracking in half, I was like, wow, this looks like crazy high quality Marvel stuff. It doesn't look like a Netflix.
Right.
It looks like it should be in theaters right now.
The only special effects that was jarring to me was actually young Elle.
Yeah, you could see little stuff there.
But that was fine in my opinion, because I can understand most of the Vecna stuff being a little wonky because it's already it's an inhuman thing, so that's cool.
But
yeah,
Vecna himself was not CGI.
Well, I'm talking about his transformation.
Oh yeah. But I'm saying in general, that's something else that was just amazing.
Yeah, it's 100%, almost 100% prosthetic.
Yeah, prosthetics was amazing.
So-
The whole team, everything they did. But
And see, that's a very lost art in movies and stuff nowadays, because everyone tries to do everything in CGI. And it's everyone knows it's CGI, but when you're able to replicate something in real world as close as possible, even beyond that, that's when you really break. That's when you really break that what's it called? That barrier of it being real or not. That red area where Max escapes. That was actually
his mental space where
that was an actual set. That was a real set.
Wow.
They actually built that, and that's why it looked so good, because it was an actual people were really in there.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that they should do that more often. I feel like it's a lost art.
You could tell those Duffer Brothers are fans of the genre. They do their homework with music, with whatever amount of CGI they need, but still the prosthetics from the old school movies. Even just the scenario of how everything looked was it took me back to the 80s with the kids riding their bikes. You don't even see kids ride bikes anymore. It's crazy.
That was the car back then, bro.
I was took me back to E.T. meets It meets Ghostbusters, that good old stuff. But yeah, that's our take on it. You got anything else to say?
Now, who's your favorite character?
Hop.
Hopper's awesome.
Hopper, I love Hopper.
I see Dustin.
Dustin.
Hey, bro, I got Funko Pops. He's top dog for me. When he cried, I cried. He cried for Eddie. I said, I'm gonna cry for Eddie too.
It's the top 3 then. It's the top 3. Hopper, Dustin, and Eddie for me.
Yeah. For this season in particular, I love the Eddie arc. He's one of my favorite characters this season. In general, as a whole, I think Hopper's my most
Overall,
favorite. Yeah. His story from being kind of a grumpy drunk father who his daughter passed away to becoming the father figure he is to these kids now, and protecting them all. I love that.
It shifted from him doing things because he wants things to end to doing things because he doesn't want things to end for them.
Right. He found a purpose again.
Yeah, that purpose was
Yeah,
that
he's
shift
finding
in
love
that.
now with the mom and everything. That's why
I love
great. Yeah, that was awesome.
Got anything else, man?
No, man, that was it. I just wanted to shout out my boy
Who's your boy?
Dustin Road.
Dustin, man.
Because it was great. It was great. He's my favorite top character.
Steven's also really cool. I really
Steve,
love
yeah.
Steve.
Yeah.
But I feel like he's utilized just enough so that it's not he's an absolute favorite, I think.
And he's grown too.
Oh yeah.
He was kind of like a douche, and then he's growing a lot of love for these kids, especially Dustin.
Yeah.
Being a role model of him in a
He's a
way.
great leader of the group.
Right.
Without
the
like
bunch.
overshining them, like he's just the
Mhm.
protective one. I like when he did that flip into the upside down. It just like
It's like he's
it's like, oh, right.
I loved it. I loved doing that.
Out of the kids, who's your favorite?
Out of the
It'd be Dustin.
children,
Yeah.
Yeah, Dustin.
Yeah.
Dustin.
I mean, I think
Dustin's bad.
I don't like
And
Mike.
he's such a good actor. And we saw it.
he's just growing too. Like,
Yeah.
there are so many little things that you're just like, man, like I'm seeing you progress. As well of all these actors, right? That you're seeing them progress and as they get older in the show. But like, him, I'm just like, bro.
Yeah, when he was holding Eddie,
Oh.
and he started crying, you're like, well, I'm a man. Like,
Come on,
Yeah.
you're crying.
And he's like, this is the, like my year. Like, yo, man, he's supposed to graduate this year.
man.
He's supposed to finally
How many times you cried?
do it, huh?
How many times you
I
cried?
didn't cry twice. I didn't.
Nah.
But if I did, I.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you.
Yeah, I think that scene for Eddie and
Max.
Dustin, and then Max and Lucas,
Yeah.
Both
And-
times with Max, honestly.
and then when Lucas was just like, Erica, help. Oh my god.
Oh,
Dang
But no, like even
Dang it.
that was episode 4, right? When she was running away from Becca the first
Yeah.
time. That one got me too.
Yeah.
Because it's like she was so ready to go. She
Yeah.
really was, but then she just kind of like got pulled back into reality.
Mhm.
And then that running was her getting pulled. Like, it's mastery, man. This is the mastery, dude.
Yeah, they did so
I
well.
love the when the Separate Ways Journey song came. It got me so hyped for that next episode. So I'm like, oh, here you go, here you go. That was like a perfect finish with that song. I thought that was great. But yeah. Anyways, thank you guys for watching.
Comment down below what your favorite scene was, or if you want to tell us what your favorite character was, if you liked the show, if you didn't,
Tell us.
and subscribe. We're, I think, 1 subscriber away from 50 subscribers, so rock on.
Hey, Hellfire Club!
Yeah, Hellfire.
Hellfire!